Welcome to the comic.
What's going on, nerds? This is Mike.
This is Bill.
This is the Comic Zone. Raedyn is back,
Yo, what's up, guys?
and we got a brand new guest. Tell us who you are and why you're here, sir.
I'm Zach, and I made a card game.
Yeah,
And this isn't his first appearance on the Comic Zone.
that's true.
He
All you
was
real
on-
Comic Zone fans out there.
Yeah,
Right, he was on our Comic-Con episode.
Yep.
Actually, Zach's first appearance.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not a cameo, first appearance.
Yep.
nice. So, you made a card game.
Yeah, I did. Thank you guys for having me. So it was a long time coming. I found some of my first notes on it the other day from back in 2016, I think. And, or no, it was longer ago than that. It was 10, 11 years ago is when I first started wanting to do this. And I finally just did it. I cut up a bunch of pieces of paper and drew it and colored it and tried to play it with my wife and completely broke it, and went back to the drawing board and driving a haul truck had an epiphany, and I ended up changing quite a few cards and totally fixed it. So
Nice. Here, tip that mic just up towards your mouth a little bit. Yeah, there you go.
is
Perfect.
that better?
Yes.
Perfect.
So you broke it. What do you mean you broke it?
So I based it off quite a few of the games I used to play when I was a kid, and I tried to mix in Dungeons and Dragons, chess, and then Pokemon, Magic, and Yu-Gi-Oh.
Oh, shit. So all kinds of shit in there.
Yeah, so when I first made it, there was 4 different types of cards, and it just didn't flow very well at all. And you could get a good hand and be good to go the rest of the game, or you could get a horrible shuffle and you wouldn't be able to do literally anything. So I got rid of those and got rid of the like mana cards that I was originally going to do, because I was playing a South Park game, and you play with cards, and over time the deals tally up, and then you can play different cards and it takes them away. So I ended up going with a concept like that and getting the 2 at the beginning of each turn, and yeah, fixed it. So it is playable.
How would you describe it now?
Definitely playable.
Okay,
Definitely playable.
I prefer it that way.
That's the most important part.
That'd be helpful for sure.
Yep, definitely. There was quite a few people that I've shown how to play, and when I moved into my new house, I got to watch 2 people, including Raedyn, play against each other. So that was a really cool experience to watch people that weren't me playing it, because I wasn't like, hey, do you want to play my game with me?
Right.
So,
To watch them play and when you're not involved, like in the game.
yep.
Well, I mean, that's the goal, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the ultimate goal, is to have other people playing this.
Yeah.
What's the name of the game?
It's called Bow. Rain likes to say bow. And
Because Zach's really good, and when he dominates it, well, of course he's good. It's his game. But when he dominates you, you just have to bow down.
thank you. It stands for Battle of Warlocks, Witches, or Wizards.
Will you turn them up just a little bit? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
You're good. Battle of Warlocks, Witches, or Wizards. So depending on what you want to identify as, more or less. But I mean, if the game gets as big as I'd like it to, then it'd be awesome to like hold a tournament every year to like earn the title of Warlock, because it's
Oh, that would be
Not
great.
specific.
Oh, that would be cool.
I think it would.
So you said it's a long time coming. Like, how many years has it been since you started actually working on it?
I've been going over the concept for a really long time, about 12 years. So about the time that I graduated high school, and I finally broke down, actually started making cards about 2-3 years ago. And getting the whole concept down was really tough and
I think I played V1 of that game.
yeah.
That was difficult.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's the first iteration. It's good. You got to work out the bugs
Yeah,
and
all
shit.
the all the kinks and whatnot.
Right. To get a good, solid, like especially for a game like that, something that has basically a meta involved to it,
Yeah.
to where you need to have everything balanced enough to where, like you said, you if you had a good draw, you were basically set for the whole game.
Yeah.
And I mean, card games struggle with that in general.
Yeah.
So, like, they break. I don't. Have you played Hearthstone?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So they break that sometimes with, like they'll have to go in and like just completely change a card because it is so broken that, you know what I mean? But
Yep.
that's just part of it. Are you planning
Magic
on
still does that.
what's up?
Magic the Gathering still does that.
Oh, I'm sure.
Every year it's every couple of months actually they have a new list of like, well, these cards are banned in this type of tournament.
Right. Well, you have to take things out of circulation too when
Exactly.
as you release new packs and like new expansions,
Yep.
you have to phase out cards. So then you're almost making cards that are similar to the ones you're taking out. Is that true?
Yeah.
And then but also if you're introducing like new mechanics and shit, that can be so Hearthstone does that quite a bit too.
Yeah.
Is where like each expansion they have a new like mechanic that you're following for some of the decks.
Yeah.
So I mean, are you planning on doing that kind of thing, or like what?
Yeah, I want to try to keep it and get all the kinks worked out before getting it to where I want it to be, and to be able to, not be like Yu-Gi-Oh. Like if you played Yu-Gi-Oh back in the day and you try to play
I tried
it now,
to. I don't think we were playing it right though.
It's a completely different game now than it used to be.
And as it should be.
Yeah.
To be able to like evolve and then like stay fun and relevant,
Yeah.
you have to. It almost has to be like a completely different game that far down the road, because I remember me and my buddy were like I said, attempting to play Yu-Gi-Oh. I don't think we were doing it right. Looking back, or maybe not 100% right.
Yeah.
But I've seen like how the difference in the cards now,
Right.
and they have like a fucking paragraph on those cards sometimes.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, the font is always so tiny.
And like the font just gets smaller and smaller. You're like have to have a magnifying glass.
Exactly. You remember like the Game Boy attachment that would go on the top that had like the magnifying glass and the lights? That's what the training cards need. They need that, the magnifying glass.
Dude, I wanted one of those so bad for my Game Boy.
I got my dad's, dude. I'd still play that thing. It's awesome.
Oh yeah.
Nice. I still have a Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance. So I would like to find like an old school Game Boy, because mine like got lost into the void somewhere.
It do be like that.
It sucks too.
Yeah.
It's
Terrible.
Yeah. And I had a bunch of games for that fucker. Like, you know what I mean? Who cares if it took 8 fucking batteries to play that fucking thing for a couple hours?
You'd ate through those batteries quick,
Not as fast as like the
especially once you get the
Game
light,
Gear and shit.
the light pack and add on and all.
Oh
the
my
other-
gosh.
All the
I
attachments.
bet somebody makes a rechargeable pack for those, or you could just go buy rechargeable batteries.
Yeah.
But back in the day, they weren't
They
as good as they are
sucked
right now.
So bad.
Oh yeah, yeah.
get
I mean, you had to
A
like
quarter
you
of
would
the
get
charge. You went off a regular battery, and it took 8 hours.
One of my presents, like every year, was a giant pack of batteries.
Yep,
Like for Christmas.
was the
Solid.
best.
You know what I mean? Like, cause like you'd need them for like if you got like an RC car, or just for the Game Boy or whatever.
Yeah, it was still like that with the 360 and the Xbox One for a while.
with the
That
controller.
was like an always assured thing. Like, what do you need? Batteries.
Yeah, I always need batteries.
Oh yeah, especially having kids. Last couple of years, I was like, man, I'm running out of AA, and now I have like 50 of them and no AAA.
Yep. I never have enough AAAs. I'll find like one.
Yeah.
Oh no.
And you need like, you know what I mean? It's like, where's the fucking like I know I bought a pack with an equal number of fucking you know what I mean? And then I just find one battery. I'm like,
It's just one.
another thing to the void.
Were you a trading card playing kid? Did you play any trading card games?
Not really. I was on the collector side as far as I had a bunch of
That's how I was
Dungeons
too.
and Dragons cards that I kind of used as my monster manual,
Oh, that's smart.
and then
Awesome.
Yeah.
like a bunch of kinda
Monster
playing
manual? What's a monster manual?
monster compendium.
Yeah,
or-
it's called a monster manual. It just has all like the D&D monsters, their stats. Their
Oh, yeah,
IDs.
okay.
It is, but it's
Yeah.
just got all of the monsters in it.
Okay, the modules.
Yeah.
I got you.
So
that-
you could
that's
kind of
smart.
ghetto fake, dungeon
yeah.
master.
Which is honestly Dungeons and
What,
Dragons.
like by yourself?
Yeah, I play it. No, but obviously with a group of people. Is that what
You would pretend to have friends
Like
around.
that, like
set
that
up, like,
Pixar
teddy
short
bears.
where the guy's playing
Playing
chess
chess.
with himself.
it would be?
That
Like
was
a
Bill with D&D.
softball with a smiley face on it.
He rolls something he doesn't like. He's like, "Huh."
googly eyes on it.
Yeah, his name's Willie to avoid copyright infringement.
Yeah.
You got teddy bears set up
Yep.
as like the other players. You just cover his eyes and roll again.
Yep. You can't see. Oh, you failed.
Ah, crit fail. Who saw that coming?
I guess, Mr. Apple, you are lunch today. You lost your role. You're saving.
So do
throw.
you have a world set up, like a story, overarching story for this game, or
Yeah.
Yeah, Zach,
I-
go on.
no, I mean,
Tell
I
him about the
imagine-
lore.
Or tell us,
Yeah, tell
just
us about the lore.
game.
Yeah, all of the characters and everything in it's based off of a world I created. I'm on, I think, chapter 4 of my first book, and I can't decide how many I want to do. I guess I'll figure that out when I get there and see if I want more story to that one. And, but yeah, there's prophecies. It's another world that mirrors ours, and it's where all of like everything mystical comes from. And like one of the main concepts is gold, and that's why all the ancient people collected gold for so long, because they can't use it for anything. We just found out it was like the best conductor, and besides that, it's just
like a magical conductor?
yeah, it's just like it. Yeah, and it's an electrical conductor. And
well, yeah, of
yeah.
course.
I mean, for how long we've been collecting it, it's just like, oh, it's so pretty. It's completely worthless, but it's pretty. So that's where I got the concept of that, is because the spell they need to go back and forth between the two, they need gold for it. And that's where all of the like Egyptian gods came from, and all of the lore, and why I think it's the Irish national mammal is a unicorn. So I have the majority of that planned out, but yeah, everything in the game is based off of that
Something
world.
that will be in your book.
Yep.
That's pretty dope.
Yeah.
I mean, why were you like?
Okay, I was laughing because I know very little about this book, but Zach will tell me like every update or like plans he's thinking for these characters to go through and the stuff that they have to. So Zach and I have been talking about this game since like he started making it. I think we met around that time.
Yeah.
When you like started making that game, when we actually started becoming friends.
Yeah.
But he would tell me like every week he would be like, "Oh yeah, and then this deck, it revolves around this character, so that's why it has this person, and this guy has like 15 pages of like this Tolkien backstory." And I'm like, it was awesome, but there's so much information there, much like World of Warcraft or Magic the Gathering. Like it's fun because it's a card game, and you can be so disconnected from what it came from, the stories that it's from, that you can still play the game, but the stories in there are just so like immense.
Well, it's the same kind of deal with like Hearthstone again.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's like it's based on the world from WoW,
Yeah.
but you could know nothing about WoW at
And you
all
can still
and
play the
still
game.
enjoy Hearthstone.
Yeah. Right.
It's just like I was telling you before we started recording, I've been playing Pokemon Shield. I don't know anything about Pokemon, like at all. Like other than like I have to bring up a weakness list.
Yeah.
Oh, I still use the chart too.
Yeah. I mean, well, hopefully everybody does that then, and I'm not like.
A lot
hard
of
to
people
keep
have it
track of.
memorized like rock, paper, scissors.
Oh, sure they do.
I mean, with the newer stuff, I'm not sure, but I mean, all of the older stuff I've known since I was like 6, but now they have all these different berry types and everything else. I'm like, I don't know.
My point is that I generally just burn through the story. I don't pay attention to that at all.
Me too.
But like the gameplay is so like addicting, and like the grind of it is fun.
Yeah.
And I think I need to just like play Final Fantasy, and that would be satisfy the same thing, and it wouldn't be as boring.
So I can't do that. When I get into something, I start at the very beginning and I go through all of it. Like Assassin's Creed 4 was coming out, and I played all of them up until that point. Like I started watching Star Trek, so I started on the original series, and so if I start Final Fantasy,
Well,
I
if
would
you're
have
watching
to start
Star
at
Trek-
like the beginning.
If you're watching Star Trek, you actually have to watch.
Discovery first.
I think so, isn't it? Didn't we talk about that on an episode?
Yeah, I mean, I know Pike is
I mean,
one in the first.
are you
If you're
doing
thinking
it
chronologically,
Yeah, right.
but
But I figured I'd watch Star Wars like you're supposed to watch, or Star Trek like you're supposed to watch Star Wars, and watch it in the order it came out.
theatrical order?
Yep.
Yeah.
fair enough.
I think it's probably best for that one.
I started watching Discovery. That shit was pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, surprisingly, I'm not like a huge.
Trekkie.
Even
Yeah.
Beth liked it too. So I started watching it, and she's like, "Oh, parts of that was interesting between what I slept through." But
I like.
she was also said, "Hey,
You liked
watch
it.
something while I sleep." Also, so
Nice.
that it could actually catch her attention while she's trying to nap says a lot about it.
That's fair.
You're just looking at her. You like it.
Well, you can't do that because then she'll be like, won't watch it again. You know what I mean? Like, my chick's the same way about everything.
Oh.
You know what I mean? It's like if you like rub it in her face a little bit, she's like, I'm good now. So I try not to do that.
Yeah, don't rock the boat.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you brought one of your cards.
Yeah, that's the only more or less official one that I've made, but I only did 2 colors of this so I could keep the deck separate, because the decks are equal. There's just different types of characters. And but there's fighters, and there's armor and weapons, and then there's the magic cards that like you play, your incantations. And it's the Battle of Warlocks and Wizards, because that's who you are. So you're summoning these people on your baseline to use their dexterity to move across the board, and their range to know how far you can attack. And then all of them have dice rolls on them, so you can roll and attack so you know how much you're attacking for, and then you add your strength and then subtract whoever you're fighting, whoever you're attacking strength.
So there's still that board game aspect to it, too.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, so you have to move around, and
So there's a certain field you have to play on.
yeah,
This
it's
you
like
can't just like do it on the tabletop.
yeah.
So
Well,
are you
you
moving
could.
around like figurines too, or like
Nope,
What do you?
just the cards, and then the armor and the weapons sit behind the main card, so all of its attributes are shown on either side. So when you move them around, then everything's visible, but it's not taking up a ton of space.
Okay.
Rad.
I would be interested to like play like a full game of it at some point. That would
Yeah.
be fun.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those games that, like, if you're like a party board game person, like I just want to play something that everybody's going to want to play and everybody's going to be into, I don't think Bo would be the one. I think Bo is for like dedicated, like,
Yeah.
I'm here to sit down and play this game.
How long's a game last generally?
So I've ran through some games. I think actually when I played Raedyn's dad, it lasted about 10 minutes and he stomped me. And
My dad's a heavy board gamer, though, to be fair. That man has been in it for a long time.
yes, he has. And yeah, it was just, yeah. It's a card game, so there's a lot of luck to it, as well as some skill. And I think one of the games with Kellen was the longest one.
Oh, dude, you and
we
Kellen, I
lasted
think, do hold the
about-
record.
Yeah, I think we lasted about 2.5 hours.
Holy shit.
So, I mean, it really just depends.
This is a really weird niche comparison. I don't know if any of you guys have ever played it. But Cartoon Network's Adventure Time came out with a game called Card Wars. And there's a lot of Card Wars that is very similar to Bo.
Yeah.
Like if I had to relate them out, because it's still like a card game.
Yeah.
And you're like, you put your card on the field, but it's virtual, so it like turns into the person and it turns into the thing.
Yeah.
But you're still like, you add your attributes to those cards that you like placed on the field, so that the play style is similar,
Yeah.
but it's not the same for sure. But that's like the most similar game to it that I've actually ever played.
Yeah.
Was Adventure Time's Card
haven't
Wars.
played that
Yeah,
one.
it's like super niche. It's like
Yeah.
anyone who was on Cartoon Network's website in 2008 to 2012 probably played Card Wars.
Oh, so is it digital?
Yeah.
I got you.
And now they have like an app for it, so but still digital.
I almost prefer like I keep bringing up Hearthstone, but that's like that one I really enjoy just because it is all digital. You don't have to keep track of a bunch of cards.
I do like that too. Like I play Magic both. I go down to one of our game stores and I'll play on Fridays, and I also play on my phone. But the one on my phone I almost prefer because I don't have to keep track of my decks. I don't gotta like luggage everything
Right.
around. I don't have to worry about having enough dice for counters or
Yeah. Right.
blah blah blah.
Right.
You
So-
also play counter decks in Magic, so I know you and Jer's the worst, but you
Oh, yeah.
but you will fill up a whole table with them.
Oh,
Are you
yeah,
gonna have
for
anything
sure.
like that in Bo, do you think?
I'm not sure. I've been playing around with concepts and have more written down for different types of cards because I know people like to play games like that different ways. So to have more of an availability to actually build your whole deck the way that you want to, it was one of the things that after I get the official cards laid out, I really want to print a bunch of them off. And because you were telling me that you really want to build a deck.
Yeah,
and, like,
I'd love to be able to. There were like I remember playing. I've played a couple games with Zach, and he let me like mess around and play with whatever decks that I wanted to. But it was fun because they are similar, but again not the same. And there were cards that I liked in each of them that I could use. And in my head, I'm already picturing like, okay, but if I used this person's tool with this guy, like being able to put those combinations in my head already with this game. So
yeah.
So
it's super fun.
what's your plan for like launching this? As far as like how are you going to do like a box and like a starter set
The Kickstarter.
and then you can have and then buy like your booster packs and whatnot? Is that what your plan is, or
Yeah, more or less. I'd love to have
like sell a starter deck?
like a couple starter decks and the board and like the dice and everything that you need like in a this is what you need and you can go home and play with your friend box. And then like random deck boxes and booster packs and stuff like that. But
How many people can you play with? Is there a minimum or maximum?
it's just you can play one-on-one, but after playing it for a while, I think you can play like 4 all, and because it's just a field, so you could have one person on each side and have your line that they're trying to attack, and you can move around and attack
And you would
whoever
attack
you wanted.
Wow, that'd be
Just be
kind
a
of
battle royale.
that'd be pretty cool.
Dude, that'd be
And that's something I don't think I've seen in a card game.
Yeah.
be rad.
Like the adding, or like even what if you did teams, like so you could do 2-on-2
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah, you
and
can.
like have
Yeah.
like 2 decks boosting each other, and then if you really planned it out well and built your decks around each other,
Yeah.
it'd just be like, dude,
Especially if you could build them, but even if you couldn't, being able to put in those combos would be the loophole.
oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Or even changing the shape of what you moved on the board. So instead of like the classic, like, okay, let's make this like a grid, but instead let's use hexagons or octagons. And
Right.
then, but of course, with that would come new rules of mechanics. So
Yep.
like how do you attack on an octagonal map? Like,
Well, that's the way
how
you
many
could.
spaces does it go through?
That's the way you could upgrade, like we were talking about it, changing the meta.
Exactly.
It's like that's how you evolve the game over time, and like maybe one expansion is based heavily on teamwork. You know what I mean? And like maybe one is based on like the battle royale scenario, and like you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
so you could
Capture the
really.
flag.
100.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that'd be
That would
really
be
cool.
awesome.
Like a retrieval type games.
We had
That's
another.
smart.
We had another guy on that. He didn't create a game, but he was playing.
There's a Warhammer spinoff.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It's a pretty fucking crazy game.
Necromunda,
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. Yeah, that sounds familiar.
Dead World.
And it's like playing a kind of like a first-person shooter, but in slow motion. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is what it's like because you're playing like these quick. It's not like Dungeons and Dragons where you're playing through a whole like story. What you kind of are though.
Yeah.
You kind of are though. You get a scenario,
A little bit, yeah.
but it seems like a quicker scenario than it would be like in D&D or whatever.
Right.
It was an interesting game. Like it was pretty interesting.
So how do you play your game?
Start with 7 cards. You have your mana that you need to be able to use the
I had a
spells
question,
that
too.
you go and that you send out, and you need it to lay anything in the game. So if you don't have it, but the incantations you can play during either person's turn at any given time. Like there's a dispel incantation card, and I used it because Raedyn used something, and he was like, "Can I dispel your dispel?" It's like
Countering
Yes.
counters is my favorite
Yeah.
game. Do you still start with a fixed point of mana?
Like
Yeah.
stacking draw twos.
Exactly.
I was wondering actually what types of magic are we dealing with in this game?
There's quite a few, but a lot of them are healing and damage mostly. There's a Mammon card that you draw to because he's greedy, and there's this full counter card. The attack doesn't do anything to whoever it was attacking. The dispel, you can just get rid of whatever incantation the other person's trying to use. Being able to see your hand, being able to see the opponent's hand, both of you discarding all of your cards. And then there's some summoning cards too for some of the
So you can summon in
fighters.
you can summon in like creatures and whatnot, or just like
Yeah, the main way that I have it set up is the Warlord summon, and a Warlord's just a super BA card compared to the rest of them, and they can move more, they can use any type of weapon or armor that you want to attach to them, and they're just super heavy hitters. So
what's the weakness?
summoning it.
It takes a lot to summon
Yeah.
it.
So the max mana you can have is 12. It takes 10 to use the card to summon it. And then you have to sacrifice 2 of your fighters that you have on the field. And
So you're basically just playing defense and trying to build up enough mana to summon this and then end the game.
Unless you play offense really fast, which is how I play.
yep.
So Zach plays a lot like that, where it's I'm just gonna build up my walls. But you see that's where the different play styles come in, and the different forms of thinking.
Yeah.
Though there's definitely just in any of these games you can play a multitude of strategies
Exactly.
as far as just how you want to approach the fight, and if you do build a deck around something like that, it
Yeah.
kind of reminds me of like the Blue Eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very
White
very Yu-Gi-Oh-esque.
Dragon, it's that kind of thing. You would just hold off your enemy or draw them into a corner almost, and then then you're able to drop your most powerful card and finish the game.
Yep.
It reminds me, just as far as gameplay, like Munchkin. Do you think that's a fair assessment?
What's Munchkin?
I would say that's a fair assessment.
It's a card style, but D&D where you can choose different classes, and
Yeah.
you can play it differently based on which cards you throw away and what you keep.
Munchkin's one of those games that I've
But it's very sarcastic and-
oh, dude, it's goofy.
And like,
It's called
right.
Munchkin.
yeah,
Yeah, that is a sweet name.
It's awesome.
It's a fun game.
Sounds fun. So have you played any? Did you play any card games at all growing up, or
Pogs. No.
Yeah.
Pog.
did anybody play that game properly?
I don't know.
Like, what were the rules to
Because basically, you
Nobody
you
knows.
flipped them over.
That's
you
what I'm
took-
telling you.
You just took them.
Do you stack them and then you throw the thing down on them and like you just try to flip them over?
Yeah,
That
that was it.
was about it.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe I was playing it right then.
I made pornographic Pogs.
That's hilarious.
Dude,
So
they had
we
some-
were all working at Taco Bell, and they had with their kids' meal little cheap ass Pogs, and everybody hated that people would play these Pogs in the games because they were crap cards. So I just cut out a bunch of just random ass weirdest shit I could find and put it on the backs of these Pogs. So then the first time they flipped them over, it's like, oh no, what?
Great.
was-
That's funny.
But then the rule there was if you won them, you had to keep them in play.
Oh, that's good.
So they always circulated, and then you didn't feel like you had to keep them either.
Yeah.
I think that was also part of it.
I hope my mom doesn't find my porno pog stash.
Porno pog. Dude, they had some pretty cool ass pogs though.
My friend had one of the slammers was a O.J. Simpson slammer.
Nice.
The picture of O.J. behind bars.
Oh my gosh.
He didn't even play, but he saw that and had to have it.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's a collector's item if I've heard.
Of course.
Dude, that would be dope. Fucking OJ Simpson slammer.
Yeah. And
I
the
had some
slammer.
pretty cool ones. I can't really recall what they are now, but I remember they were pretty neat.
Wow, that sure was the story.
You should tell it apart.
So I made
tell it again.
I made Kristen Shaw stop playing Pogs of Bob's Burger, the most famous person I'll probably ever know. But actually, we're playing Pogs, and once she flipped over and got the porno Pog, she picked him up, sat him down, and just walked away.
Oh no!
I'm done with you weird ass people.
Hilarious.
That's fantastic. I'm gonna think
the
of that
best
every time I
claim to
watch
fame
Bob's
you
Burgers
have.
now.
Yeah,
It was like I made a famous person uncomfortable.
Yeah.
she
You
wasn't
done
famous then.
No,
She was.
which you get bonus points for. Honestly, that you did that before the come up. You know that could be you could be part of her story.
Yeah.
Right now, she's just like, you know what? A lot of people told me no, and this one guy made me really uncomfortable with a porno pog once.
Well, maybe we can get her
Maybe
on
that'll
the
be
show.
how I get canceled. That's how I get canceled later on.
Yeah, maybe we can.
When you write your memoir.
But
Yeah.
listen, we can get her on the show, and then you guys can work it out
Yeah.
like right there.
Or you can do it again.
Be like, I
Convince her to play
thought,
Pogs.
Same
down.
mistake.
Yeah.
yeah, I
Double
thought,
down.
and just make the pogs even more pornographic.
Yeah, right.
no.
I'm sure there's way worse stuff now than there was then.
Yeah.
Maybe less hairy now, but
Oh yeah, definitely. So
But the answer to your question is not really as far as the games go. It wasn't later on. I did play Dungeons and Dragons for a while. That was probably, or also the Masquerade, Vampires Masquerade.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
That's I'm reading the comics and it's fantastic. They're so good.
Yeah. It was a fun game to play. Tried to play Rifts.
yeah.
That's a
But-
fun word.
It was way too complicated, and I didn't have enough friends. And then
Understandable.
later on, it was more recently, it was more Munchkin or Talisman. Talisman's a pretty good board style, RPG
Yeah.
style game. And others kind of like that, but
It's the one that it is kind of a sad story, like you said, but it's the one that we all relate to. I mean, it takes a very niche person to be able to sit down and play a game for a long time. Like,
especially commit to that
Yeah.
level of any kind of campaign.
Yeah.
like those, like any kind of RPG, whether it's like a card game RPG, a virtual card game RPG, anything,
Tabletop.
Munchkin, tabletops, like board games, all of it. It really does take a special kind of person.
Monopoly.
Actually, super funny that you
Dude,
brought up
I'm not a
RPGs.
Monopoly.
When I was making this game, I was like, man, I want to make it as easy to play as possible, but you can make it as complicated as you want.
Well, that's kind of because you want to make it accessible to the widest
right.
branch
Yeah,
of
yeah.
like.
Yeah.
So, yeah, to make it easy on the base level
Yeah.
is a good idea. Make the concept of the game simple, but there's nuance, and you can, like you said, make it more complicated, build more complicated decks and strategies and shit like that.
Yeah, because I was watching my buddy play the South Park Stick of Truth, and I watched him play that game for weeks, and he was stuck on like Princess Kenny for like 3 days, and he finally beat it.
Shockingly
and-
difficult.
Yeah, right. And I beat that game in like 3 days and had way better gear than he did and everything else. And he was like, "How did you do that?" I was like, "You don't play RPGs. Like,
Right, yeah.
it's a super basic game and everybody can enjoy it. If you enjoy South Park, you would love that game. But if you play games like that and have ever played World of Warcraft or Skyrim or anything else, you can make it like you can see all of the little details that they
Yeah.
added into the game.
You'd be a grindhouse at that game.
Yeah.
Like not to just sorry to deviate this
No,
conversation,
yeah.
but the South Park games are like brilliantly made and is what Trey and Matt, the writers, really want to do now. Like,
Yeah.
they're done with
It's
they're
make
done with
games.
making the
So that's good hope for Casa Bonita in Denver.
that's
Yeah,
great.
so-
hope.
so-
Actually,
Dude, I want to
in-
go there.
in Fractured
bad.
But Whole, the second South Park game where you
Yeah.
play superheroes. One of the DLC campaigns is in Casa Bonita,
Oh yeah.
and like, dude, it's so.
Dude, I
It's
went
so
there when
fun.
I was like 5 or 6 years old back in the day, and they had like the waterfall in there and
They
shit.
still do
Yeah.
exactly
Yeah,
like
and-
the episode.
And but
Does
they
the dude still dive off the top?
well,
They
yeah,
still
they
have
did.
all that?
They
oh, yeah.
did. They did this when I was there. I remember it was a cowboy, right? And he had his like chick, and then so
In the mine shaft.
and then the evil cowboy like kidnaps her, and then they end up in a quick jog,
Like a little shootout.
Yeah.
at the top of the shit, and then the guy would get shot and like fall off there and dive into the pool.
Yeah.
When I was a fucking kid, man, it probably
It was the bee's knees.
dude, it was amazing. I was like,
was
this
so
is like
cool.
the greatest fucking thing I've ever
Casa
seen.
Bonita did not need to go as hard for us as they
They
did.
didn't have to do that. No, they didn't have to.
Well, they
do that.
did because the food was that awful.
The food is
I mean,
just terrible.
I
The
went
line
there
was
recently,
ridiculous.
before they closed. Was probably when my niece was still young, so probably 2010s easily. And it was the same shtick. You know, the Black Bard's cave was getting creepier and more dilapidated, and you know, all those things were just a little grosser with the
Yeah,
age, and
right.
you wonder when was the last time they cleaned that. But
Nobody knows.
They're using the same props that you saw the first time you went there. It's just
Exactly.
like, oh man.
so I mean, it was the same shtick, same awful food.
Oh yeah.
Sopapilla is the only reason, and I think they
But when you're
They
10, you can't taste it. Look around.
Yeah, you
can't
don't
taste
care.
when you're looking at things.
Yeah, you don't
Yeah.
care. You're like, this is Mexican food. You know what I mean?
Oh man.
I think
Right.
they
Just
upped
like
it
this
with
is-
Felt
Come
so
after
poorly
you for that.
represented.
I'm just saying, like when you're a kid, you don't fucking know,
Oh
dude.
no, you don't
You're
care.
like, this is delicious. And there's a waterfall. This is amazing.
You're like, you take a bite and you're like, oh my god, did that guy just get shot?
Yeah. Dude, well, that shit was cool. I wonder, like, the different little shows they've done on up there, you know what I mean? Because that was just when I was a kid, and that was, like, in the 80s, late 80s.
Yeah.
I don't know if different's the word that I would use for the shows, but they did do the shows. Is what it sounded
Yeah.
like. It's been the same
Oh, they
one.
just changed the aesthetic.
Kinda.
Like, just
Probably,
changed their
yeah.
costumes.
Yeah. Like,
then a luau girl, and
Yeah.
you know, instead of a girlfriend, or
but the
and this
cave
Don
stays the
Quixote
cave.
one day, and she's Dulcinea. Whatever.
We just changed the names minorly to evade taxes.
It doesn't have to make sense. Like it all involves a waterfall and falling in. That's what it meant. That's like essentially we know what's gonna happen. Somebody's falling in the waterfall.
Yeah.
Yep.
That thing looked pretty cool though.
I don't like water, so
Really?
I just don't jump into it. Well, I think any stagnant water is absolutely disgusting. I don't care what you put in it. And I'm used to places like Alcova where they just like, you know, filled up a hole and didn't bother cleaning anything out before they took it out. And, I don't know how many dead bodies are in that lake. So
Probably a bunch.
yeah.
Probably a good few.
Couple every year.
Yeah. So
I forget
don't
who I
trust
was
it.
talking about that with, but we were wondering that too. It's like, how many bodies do you think are in there? And like, not okay, but then you got to think
Hey,
about
Alcova, what's your
not-
body count?
not just from, not from people like drowning in there by accident. Like, how many murder victims are in there?
Murder, death kills.
Dude, I'm
I've been
telling you,
there, death kill.
I bet
Oh
you
my
it's more
gosh.
than you think. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, for
I
sure.
bet you it's more than you think. How many you think, Bill?
I don't know.
Just
So if there was say 200 bodies, I'd say
200.
at least 20 of them.
At least 20 of them were like murder victims.
Yeah. So what?
Yeah.
10%.
It's like 10% of, so 10% of the bodies found in
Dexter.
Alcova are murder victims.
Yeah, I mean we're in Wyoming, so the majority of people just find an old oil well and just
They just,
dip it.
like an old dog, just go out in
Yeah.
the field and that's it.
Yep.
Put them down.
We have enough land here. There's too many people at Alcova.
Well, here comes my time. Time to go old yeller myself in the back.
Yep.
Dude, I bet it is like at least 20. Like straight up murder victims in the lake. Enjoy that next time you go swimming.
I think
Joke's
there's
on you,
more.
I don't.
Yeah. Straight
Alcova's
up.
gross.
Yep.
Or eat
Gross.
a fish out of the lake.
Ooh.
Ooh, they were just like munching on a dead guy's eyeball.
Boiled for safety.
Yep.
Fish food. Deep fried.
One of my
Fish
buddies
off
tried to get
Raedyn's.
me to go cliff diving. I was like, nope, I don't do it. And he was like, why not? I was like, because I don't know what's underneath me. He's like, okay, I'll make a deal with you. It's like, all right. He's like, we're going to jump off this dock. And then we're going to go jump off that 5-footer. Then we're going to go jump off that 10-footer. And then we're going to go hit the cliff that we were jumping off earlier. It's like, all right, if nothing happens, I'll go to the next one. I jumped off the deck and hit a rock on my ankle, and it skid all the way up to my knee, and I walked with a limp for like 2 weeks. He was like, all right, never mind.
He fucking manifests destiny over here. Fucking
But it's okay, but that's exactly like Casa Bonita, because when you're like, 11 or 12, you don't care what's in the water. You're
Yeah,
like, this
exactly.
is a huge puddle. I'm going to splash in
No,
it.
I totally get, but I think I have a different fear of water. It's like I don't like, so if I can't see what's beneath me
Yeah.
and I think about it too much, I'm like, oh, there's fucking sharks in here.
You get
You know what I
swallowed
mean?
by
Like,
the monster of
I
the
know
lake.
there's not
The
sharks
Kraken
in there.
under there.
I know
Instead of
there's not
crab.
sharks in here, but there's sharks in here.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
or
totally
yeah, just some.
opposite.
I don't care if it was just a really big trout came by and hit my foot. I would drown myself having a fucking heart attack. You know what I mean?
Oh, my gosh.
I would be my own demise in that situation.
What were those monsters called? Like the creature, the thing from the lake, and Dracula, and werewolf.
Creature
There's-
from the Black Lagoon.
Yeah, the creature. But that's what you're worried about, coming in and just grabbing your ankle.
No, not even that. Just,
No, it
I
wasn't.
remember
It
the
was a hand.
creep show where there was this like sludge that creeped across the lake.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
And then
yeah.
if it touched you, it grabbed you and like sucked you into it and ate you alive.
nice.
And then at the very end, the guy ran up, got onto the beach. He's like, "Aha, I beat you!" And then it picks up and goes and swallows him up.
Sounds like a terrible movie.
That's
that
a
was
counter.
a creep
right there.
show. I think it was Creep Show or
I watched that, and when they had it on Netflix for a little bit, I remember watching that one. I was like, but that's what makes me think is like, oh, counterspell. Like, my action is I run onto the beach. Haha, counterspell, make a wave.
Create a torch.
Should have had a raft, buddy. You could have countered the counterspell.
Sucks to suck.
That happens to me. I'm setting the whole fucking beach on fire. And I'm going to be on the other side of that. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Because we all know fire takes out symbiotes, and that's what that sounds like.
it very was.
Yeah, unless
Sounded
it's
like
wet.
it.
So, fucking checkmate, bitch.
Wait, you mean to tell me that it's not noise?
Just
That too.
scream at it.
I just fucking, you're just screaming at it.
You hit the
Fucking
right
Foreman.
pitch. Like you can actually shatter glass if you hit the same resonant frequency that the glass is made of. So if you know the resonant frequency of that
You're like about to
monster-
start another Flashpoint.
But I
paradox.
don't think
better
you can
watch
do
out.
it with just your voice. You have to amplify your voice too.
Depends. No, on Mythbusters, the dude did it just holding up to his mouth.
Really?
Yeah, he was like opera kind of singer, like in a hair band or something.
Had like super control of his voice.
and was known for singing at a very high note,
Dang, like a glass, like the glass
like a
shattering.
glass shattering.
Yeah.
That's
And
fucking
he did it
cool.
all the time in his act with an amplified. He could easily,
rad.
so he was in tune to that frequency, but then
He did it with
Dang.
just his voice.
just his voice,
I
That's
like how
fucking
South
cool.
Park did it better because they had the brown note.
the brown
Oh
note.
yeah.
Yep.
Make you poop your pants.
Simpsons did it.
The Simpsons. Also a great episode of South Park.
Yeah.
I'm totally gonna add a card, by the way, now that's sound frequency. Just
Yeah.
yeah,
Do you
You
have
can
te-
use the Banshee.
okay,
for
so
the
you have-
art style.
You have
Good.
magic and shit, right?
yeah.
But what about technology?
Yeah, I'll definitely add it in because it's something I'll introduce into the game after.
It could be one of your like one of the meta changes is introducing technology.
Yeah, because I mean, I don't know how far in the future somebody's going to be
Oh my
like
gosh,
actually
that'll
read
be
all of the books, but at the end of like the book series I want to start a comic series afterwards. Because at the end of the book series, it'll join the two worlds into one and mash the magic
Dude, you
and our
can't-
technology.
You can't spoil your own
And-
story before you even write it.
Dude, honestly,
to
spoilers are
start
like
at
my
the end
favorite
sometimes.
part. Yeah, I mean, J.K. Rowling
But you'd
started
have
at
to, yeah.
the Battle of Hogwarts.
You have to.
So yeah, and I love spoilers. If somebody is like, "Oh, dude, in this movie, these two people fight," everybody's like, "Oh, you ruined it." I'm like, "No, I want to watch it now."
Where's the
like,
fucking
so much more?
Spoiler button, Bill. We got a spoiler sound.
Somewhere.
Uh,
It's all far away from
It's not
you.
even
It's,
fucking-
it's
So
too
far
far away.
He's not. It's like right over there.
So
There it is.
I forgot about the spoiler button.
That's the spoiler sound. It's a little late.
All right, now let the applause die out naturally.
So, let me see that card real quick.
Which one?
That one.
That one?
And then I want to see one of the other because this is like one of your.
So there's a map and a game board too. You're saying?
Yeah.
You want to see one of these
Which I
decks?
did not bring. You want a deck?
Sure.
I love these decks because the art style is super cool. Like Zach based each one of them off of something.
Yeah.
Like all the creatures and stuff. Also all hand drawn. So
Yep.
to have the patience to how many cards are in a deck?
60.
Yeah, to have the patience to go through and individually write down and draw all 60 things. There's like a symbol in the bottom corner that like designates what kind of thing it is. There's the title of the card, there's the picture, and then the describer.
This is my favorite so far. You're a
Which
true
one's
artist, sir.
The Dwarven Archer.
It just looks
Yes, Skelly Archer.
it's
Some of
so
them-
good.
Yeah,
Like it's uncanny.
It's perfect. Put it up to the camera so they can see it, dude. It's so good.
Yeah,
I love them.
Some of them I spent like quite a bit of time on, and some of them like, yeah, fuck it.
I mean, you got to make 60 per deck. That's
hard to
120
get 'em to
20
show up.
cards that I like.
That's right there. That's 120.
Andrew,
Technically 121 because he's holding the official, which you
Yes.
also hand did.
Yeah, which I mean, I did another one, but my son drew all over it. So.
Oh, rip.
This one almost looks like it is like legit Fox.
Also, I like this design for the
See, this
background.
one's a fucking great. Like you did really great on that one.
Are-
It's a small space to draw something too.
I do.
Oh yeah, I like that.
Incredibly
That
impressive.
one looks fucking.
Yeah, some of them are like are a lot of detail.
One. See,
but-
and I mean, with the official cards, I'll spend like a lot more time on each of them.
so are the backs all gonna? The back they all have to match.
Yeah, I'll
Otherwise,
have all of them.
you know.
Yep, just
You
like
know?
You can
that.
get the towel.
So
Yep.
are you gonna do this like the sky background for all of them, or
I think so.
what's the thought?
Yeah.
I wonder if
Well, you change the back of the card for each expansion, right? So you do, you know, which ones.
well then you would know what expansion it comes from.
Yeah, and
So
I
if
mean,
you're-
if you
Well,
only
yeah, I
had
mean, but
one
you're gonna
that you
be
needed.
when you change meta, you're gonna be playing in that expansion anyway.
Oh man, but then you couldn't use any of the old cards.
That's true.
You would kind of eliminate.
That's what we were talking about. Is like as you
Yeah.
expand the game, you eventually have to cycle.
Okay,
things
but
out.
this is also the caveat that comes with it. Like in Magic, so there are cards that are illegal in tournament, right?
Yep.
But there are tournaments that you can play where you use illegal cards where they're like, I don't care, or
Well,
you
yeah,
just
you can play.
you just play at home. You just homebrew some stuff. So
Well, yeah, like Hearthstone, you can go and play Wild, which is like their shit that's out of circulation, and you can go play whatever deck
showing
you
off the
want.
official boy right here.
Yeah, that one looks really great,
Dude,
man.
it looks fantastic.
Hold
It
it
looks
a little
so
bit
good.
longer.
I'm holding it. Oh, good.
You know
Now I
what you
can
need
see
to
it.
do is get you a drawing tablet or something, and
That's
so
what
you
I'm
can,
saying. You
I
got to
mean,
learn
if
how
you
to
did
do
that,
this.
if you did that on that, and
Copy
then
and paste will be
and
your
then
best friend, bro.
it cleans your lines
Yeah.
up for you and makes them more consistent, and then
Yeah. The backs of these is my favorite. I love how you changed it from like, let me get a comparison in there.
Yeah,
So
it
it's
looks-
just like you can see where the images come from.
and
You
then
can
when
see
you
the
get rich and
inspiration.
famous from this, you
shout
can
out the
you can
podcast.
sell those old
Yeah, definitely.
you could sell those old decks for like
a gazillion dollars.
yeah
Gazillion.
a fucking gazillion.
Honestly,
That
I
would-
really
that would
want
be,
to pitch it to Sony and be like, you know what? Pokemon started as a card game, and
That's true.
they've
I thought it
made
started as the
it did start
video
as,
games.
The original video game, and the card game was in
soon after.
development as like that came out.
Kind of like how Star Wars was like, here are a bunch of toys, and then people are like, yeah, where are the movies with these guys? And they're like, oh, right.
Yeah, well, okay.
Oh yeah, we gotta put the like Boba
This
Fett.
He-Man and G.I. Joe.
Oh yeah, when
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
okay,
They-
Same.
what they released that initial Star Wars set, like,
Yeah.
they were supposed to have the figures like ready. They weren't out fast enough, or they didn't make enough, so they sold you this like cardboard cutout with like every figure that was supposed to be in the, and it was
Yeah.
like, so you got like a stand.
George Lucas's IOU.
Yeah, and you got the stand, and then
And
you
there's
would,
IOU.
He
But
wasn't getting
Yeah.
any money out of it.
and then they were supposed to
Eventually
send
they
you.
did,
They
yeah.
were supposed to send you the next figure as they came out and shit. I have they remade the whole set, and like the one it came with, it's like a bigger version, so you get bigger figures. But it came with like a Darth Vader, and it's like a really detailed version of that original
Oh, sick.
deal.
That's awesome.
But I never opened it. Like, it's still in the box and shit because I'm a fucking weirdo.
Yeah,
I
'cause
have
you're-
a bunch of
you're a big
McDonald's
nerd.
toys and
Yeah.
It's like
stuff
my
that are
regret
still
with
in the
a lot of my
package.
toys now. I'm like, why did I open these? But I'm also the guy like, if I ever receive like a Nike would have a fit right now. If I ever receive like a Funko Pop, I'm immediately taking that thing out of the box. I'm like,
Really? Where do you
Oh,
put
dude.
them though?
I put them up on shelves, or I actually like putting them in places where they're not super visible. So it's kind of like a hidden detail within the
So
room.
you walk by and you're like, oh,
You're like, yeah, like on the top of a door frame or something, and then,
like,
so
it's
people will just be
fucking
like, "Is that-
Kylo Ren.
why is he staring at me?" Just like Huey, Dewey, and Louie all standing in a line together. I'm like, all right, cool.
That's funny. Dude, Sean has fucking how many pops now?
crazy amount.
He just got that
Hundreds.
Run DMC one. Did you see it?
No.
Yeah, he's got like a whole stage setup. It's got
I think I did
Got all
see the
3 of
picture of that one.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, he's got like 3,000 or something, right?
Wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, you could actually
lot.
any number you say, even if you were like, yes, almost every, as long as it wasn't 100% of all the ones ever made, I would believe you. If you were like,
Right.
he's only missing one, I'd believe you.
Not one.
Some of the most expensive ones are Batman ones that have like a crazy design on them. Like I went through and was looking at one day, just went down,
yeah. I know what you're
and
talking
like
about.
some of those are worth like a crazy amount of money, dude.
Beth has one that's made out of, I think, pewter or some sort of metal.
That's
So
cool.
it's
That's
really
cool.
dense.
like solid.
Yeah.
I have a
It's probably
Boba Fett action figure that's made out of metal, and it's fucking super detailed and it's badass.
Did you open it?
No,
Never open it.
I won't.
That one you had to,
never
that one that she has, you had to open because it was in a sealed box, so you couldn't even see it.
Oh yeah.
So you had to take, so if you're going to see what it looked at, and you could reseal it.
Yo, I wish I could show you, but
yeah.
It's
you're
upstairs.
gonna have
Sorry,
to
it's
take
in-
my word
It's
for it.
in the
It's
box. I
pretty cool.
saran wrapped the saran wrap.
Yeah.
just you're gonna have to take my word for it. It's pretty neat.
But it had like a plastic box that it came in so you could
Oh, cool.
replicate the effect, I think.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
Well, how much does
toys
keeping
should
shit
do.
in the box matter, really? Though
It really only matters to the people who keep stuff in boxes.
I know.
Is the only person who cares is like the other person who doesn't want it opened.
Well, if you're gonna flip it, I think is the real thing, or you think it's gonna be worth money. I mean,
Yeah.
I understand.
But we
it.
went overboard as nerds with this shit.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
As far as my
Definitely.
Lego
I have-
kits,
Yeah.
I keep all the boxes if they're over like $150 a kit. I'll keep the boxes.
Yeah.
Well, that
But I
so
don't,
you can like resell maybe, or what do you mean?
I don't know why. And I'm not planning on ever selling them. No,
just
but
don't know
it's
why?
just
It's just something
I
you do.
just yeah. It's like I can't throw them away.
It's like every millennial
Like
kid
I
in their
sti-
iPhone box from high school.
I still have the original Death
that
of
a thing?
Superman in the poly bag.
Oh my gosh.
Is there seriously?
Yeah, that's definitely a thing. There's so many people that do.
I have.
Oh,
It's
that
like
still
you know
have the
you're
iPhone box?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like you know you're never gonna
That's
use
crazy.
that box
You still
again,
have the
right?
death is
It's
like,
I might.
like when it
No,
first
you
came
don't.
out.
Two of
No,
them.
you won't.
Wow.
Yeah, you never will.
Did you think they were going to be huge or?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're not.
I know. I was like, well, how'd that fare out? Not well.
What are we talking about?
The death of Superman comic.
Yeah,
He just bought it sealed, like
I was-
kept it like that.
From the back in the day, still sealed in the bag, and also the resurrection of
The
Superman.
number
Yeah,
one.
but like
or-
you know that.
It wasn't. It was when he actual died, and it had a black poly bag with the Superman logo dripping in blood.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, I like
That's,
I
that's
totally
crazy
get why you
that
would,
that's
too.
not more popular, or not popular, but worth more. But I guess they
Because
printed a shitload of them.
Everyone collected them, thinking they were going to be worth $1 million.
Yeah, and I
That's
mean,
what happens when
as
you like
soon as-
broadcast something so monumental.
That was the 90s. That was the bubble, the comic bubble of the 90s.
You know why they did that?
To sell shit.
No, you know why they had to kill Superman? They had to do something big because that's around the time that Todd McFarlane and everybody left and started Image.
Yep.
And that was so huge at the time that they were like, oh, we got to do something fucking big. And like Todd would actually joke like that, yeah, we killed Superman. You know what I mean? And it's true.
Yeah.
It's true. If you watch that fucking, I forget, I think it was on Amazon Prime, but they had a documentary about Image and like just how that all went down.
Oh yeah,
I would recommend watching it. It's pretty good.
yeah. I'll definitely have to check it out.
Yeah, and I think it's better that it didn't pop off like it did. You know, like how everyone thought it was going to be. Like, oh, this comic's going to be worth a bunch, but especially because they broadcasted it like that. But normally you get like, you know, this is a first appearance of somebody, or this is the death of somebody. But that's not like the whole. That's not the whole point of the comic. You know, it's just like
The point
oh,
is
here
just
is, like-
read the story.
yeah, you read the story and it's like, oh, but did you know that in Silver Surfer 59, blah 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 blah, like all this stuff happens. So you like you really and that's what makes it special. Is you have to be part of that world
Right.
to really be able to say this is the comic that changed this. This is that. This is the
Well, and that's what really makes those, and like when, like at these days when a comic like boosts in value,
Yeah.
it's generally because there's a show
Or a
coming
movie.
out or a movie
Yeah.
or you know what I mean, and that it like especially if it's the first appearance of a character.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Deadpool's first appearance jumped from like $50 to $500 right after it came out because
yeah.
nobody knew who he was. And then
It-
everybody's
well,
like,
it's-
"Oh, Ryan
not
Reynolds."
unless you played.
It's usually
Yeah,
months.
exactly.
or
It's
read the
usually
comics.
these days. It's around the time that they announce that this movie's coming,
Yep.
and then you get a big jump in value in that
Yeah.
that particular character's first appearance or whatever. What were
So
you gonna say, Bill?
Donnie Keats tweeted that this alternate cover that he was going to do was important. So what it was Thor saw his own death in a vision that he had, which is actually a storyline they're starting to do now. This was probably 3 or 4 years ago, maybe, but him saying that on Twitter caused the value of that comic to jump. I mean, it wasn't like
Yeah.
$100, but it was a cover price comic up to $14, $24.
Yeah.
So him just saying that this was important caused it to bounce.
Yep.
And so I mean, it's what something is perceived to be worth.
Well, that I think
drives
that's,
it.
I think that's
Yeah.
what drives value in anything, though, is just like we think it's valuable, so it is.
Yep,
Yeah. Right.
gold.
That's why beef jerky is so dang expensive.
Yeah.
Because we're willing to pay $12 for a bag this big.
Yeah.
Like, ugh.
Yeah. Well, it is delicious.
It's so good.
It is.
I want to protest, but I'll never stop buying it.
Yeah, you're
Pretty
like,
sure
what
it's
if,
the most expensive
but
thing
what
my
if we
grandma
bitch
got
and
me
they-
was a pound for
Oh my god.
Christmas. I was like, I don't even want to know.
Yeah, right.
yeah, like fucking she took out a loan.
That's right. That's a triple digit right there.
Right.
That's
So when I was in Texas, there was a gas station that had a beef jerky wall, like a delicatessen of all sorts of different variety of beef jerky. Beach Nuts was the name of the store, but I think we are getting one here in
Nuts.
Wyoming.
Oh, really?
yeah, they would
It's
fare
got like
very
a
well
beav-
here.
It's got a beaver as a logo.
Oh, I tried the yak jerky when I went to the Snoop Dogg show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mid.
Tried a mushroom jerky the other day.
That's
Wasn't
I-
weird.
Yeah, it's mushroom jerky's better as an ingredient, I learned,
Yeah.
than it is an actual.
Like you rehydrated in something.
Yeah, you rehydrate like a stir fry or like
Yeah.
teriyaki.
I
chicken
love
or something.
mushrooms. I'm just like, I don't know if I could
Honestly, it's not
chew
bad.
on
It-
mushroom
it's-
bark.
It's just like
Mushroom
it's
bark.
it's like barbecue sauce with like, I was gonna say grit, but that's the wrong word
Yeah.
entirely. It's like chewy barbecue sauce. You
Yeah,
can
you're not
taste
selling
mushroom.
this to me.
Yeah, there's no way to make it sound
It's
good.
like, so if-
No, it's called mushroom jerky. They were
Yeah.
like doomed from the start.
They
Yeah.
like, didn't even like munch it up and like try to make it look like jerky. They just like used the mushrooms.
That's
and just,
kinda
like,
how the-
eat it.
The consistency of these like yak jerky sticks was strange. It's like you could tell they turned it into like a paste and then it like turned into the stick.
Yeah.
So it was like it tasted good. Like it was good.
Yeah, yak's okay.
I'm not gonna like shit on it, but it was definitely a weird thing. I was like, in my
It's
mind,
like a
I'm
Dino
going,
Nugget equivalent.
yeah.
you know?
In my mind, I'm going. This is like not like actually jerky though.
Right.
You know what I mean? But it is. I mean, it's yak. I'd like to try like
It's meat.
Yeah, I'd like to try the steaks or like the burger or something.
I've got some of the ground beef. I haven't figured out how I want to use it. So I'm like,
Make some spaghetti.
old Beth's vegetarian, so I'm not gonna just cook it up for myself either. So I've got to,
Oh,
I got to plan it right.
Yeah.
Well,
And I
you
don't,
got to plan it for like when
yeah,
when
for
we do a
game night or
podcast. You
something.
make us some spaghetti. We eat the entire.
You really feeding for
Entire-
some spaghetti.
spaghetti.
Well,
I make
Look,
a
there's-
bomb ass spaghetti
I
sauce
like fucking
too.
spaghetti.
Oh, yeah.
I like
Spaghetti's bomb.
spaghetti.
Yeah, spaghetti's good. I mean, there's just like the possibilities are endless, but spaghetti's your stop.
Yes. Well, I mean, that or like tacos, right?
Oh, solid.
You know what I mean?
Or you could just shape it into like,
Those
like
go-to
burgers
meals.
or sausages or
When
yeah.
you can't think of what to cook, you're like, oh, spaghetti or like tacos.
Is
Or whatever.
spaghetti's your go-to.
I make a lot of game meat, and my kids don't know it.
Oh, okay, okay.
So
Yeah.
I make things that will mask it.
Yeah, that's
And-
smart.
Crazy. It's actually not that crazy, but like tomato sauce.
Oh,
Really,
tomatoes will mask anything.
Well, and it takes.
That's why Heinz ketchup was invented.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
In the because they wanted something to cover up the foul taste of rancid meat with
Wow.
ketchup.
What?
Yeah.
Swear to
That's
God.
wild.
Rancid meat. What are you saying?
So this is before refrigeration, in like I think the 20s when Heinz was invented. The reason why they wanted, because they needed to mask the smell and the taste of bad meat, because they still bought it, they still have to eat it.
Yeah.
So they had ketchup was invented for that very reason, and I think it's because we became used to the taste that it then was associated with hamburgers or as something that we.
It is fucking delicious on a hamburger, though.
I bet it has a lot more sugar now
It's,
than it did
it's
then
just
too.
straight sugar.
yeah.
That's
It
like that is
definitely
Heinz.
does have a lot more sugar. It was actually referred to as catsup before it had all the sugar, and ketchup was with the added sugar.
Oh,
So there's like a
find
legitimate
old,
difference.
Yeah, when you find old recipes and stuff, we have a few from like the 40s and 50s, and it was like one bottle of catsup, and I was like, dude, did these people just
Yeah,
not?
well, they
know
were
how-
dumb back
is
then.
that
They
what-
didn't go to
yeah, is that
school
just
and
what they
stuff.
did it? And no, it was legitimately a thing. So I figured that out when I looked it up, because I was like, how big was a bottle of ketchup back in 1950? Because my bottle's like 64 ounces, and I'm not using a whole bottle in 2 pounds. So
yeah. Well, I guess, like, so the white bread you buy at the store
Yeah.
is they can't even technically classify that as bread.
Oh no,
Yeah.
no,
It's like a cake.
Yeah.
There's so much sugar in it that it's basically cake.
Oh yeah. When we have our foreign exchange students, they come over and like they come and
Yeah, they're
we
like,
have
"What the fuck is this?"
breakfast or bread or anything else, and they're like, "Why is everything so sweet?" I'm like, "I don't."
Yeah, what do you
want
mean?
a fat
American.
dumb nation? I don't know what
Yeah.
to tell you.
We like sweetness.
It's a mind control.
cheese is like that too.
Yeah.
If you buy like
Cheese is
Kraft
so good.
slices, it doesn't actually say cheese slices. It'll say cheese product
Yeah,
Yeah.
because they can't.
because that's not fucking cheese, man.
no, it's not.
We all know that.
Yeah,
We all know that.
and I'll
And I
down
don't-
it by the
I don't
slice,
eat-
bro.
I don't fucking
can't
eat
do it.
that shit.
Love it.
I tried to show my foreign exchange student this year cheese in a can the other day, and she was not impressed at all.
And he didn't like it.
No, she did not.
come
I
on,
gave her
that's-
cheese on a cracker, and she was like, tried a bite. I was like, I'll take that back. She's like, thank you.
You
No.
fucking just eat it.
Yeah, yep.
I think I'll have
Right
another.
into the mouth.
Yeah.
I'm like that scene in the Goofy movie, just like that.
Yeah.
He stacks it on his leaning tower of cheese.
Yeah, fucking Pauly Shore.
Uh-huh.
Love Pauly Shore.
The whistle.
Wheeze in the juice.
Yeah, dude.
No, he's in the juice.
No soup for you.
He's still pretty funny on like socials and shit if you follow him.
Yeah.
He's still doing stand up and doing
Oh,
his
good
thing.
for him.
Yeah, well,
I would hire
his
Pauly Shore.
mom ran the Comedy Store in LA for the longest time.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
And that's
Yep.
like he came up in comedy. He literally grew up in comedy.
Yeah.
So, and maybe he wasn't ever like the funniest dude on the planet, but he was a character.
He always made me laugh way harder than almost anything else I've
I loved his
ever
movies
watched.
and
I
shit.
love him. Yeah.
Mhm.
Encino Man.
Oh,
Yeah.
fantastic.
Biodome was probably my
Biodome
favorite.
is
Biodome.
That might be one of the greatest comedies ever made.
It's so good.
You know what's like actually slept on for this generation? Weekend at Bernie's.
Oh
Yes.
yeah, definitely.
Weekend at Bernie's was
Both
like
of them.
so funny. And I didn't expect it to be so funny, but it
There's
like
both movies are great. If you haven't
me-
seen the second
I
one,
haven't seen the second.
watch the second one.
I'm always wary of the sequel.
In the second one, whenever music's played, he starts dancing, and he'll like,
Awesome.
and he'll like shuffle off and like wander off. So yeah, it's pretty
That's
fucking
great.
funny. Those movies are great.
It's always hard not to be skeptical of the second one when you're about our age because
Oh my
Well, that's
all
about-
the
so many
second
sequels.
Disney movies sucked so bad.
Well,
Besides Frozen.
Lion King 2. And yeah,
Besides
Frozen.
Frozen,
Frozen 2 was better than
awesome.
Frozen.
Like I did not like Frozen. I complained about it forever. I was like, nope.
Well,
their
fucking-
parents were trash.
check
and
it out. Check it out. What about?
Second one redeemed it.
I always like looked at her
100%.
like power set. So like the ice lady, what's her name?
Elsa.
Okay,
And Dina
so she-
Menzel.
so her powers though, like look at how fucking incredibly
She's
like
the next Sub-Zero.
I feel bad for anyone that invades that kingdom. Like,
Yeah,
100%.
for sure.
they don't have armies. Let's go in there.
Yeah.
And then you find out.
The new Punisher series is just Elsa from Frozen.
Yeah.
Well,
Somebody kidnaps her sister.
have you seen that little video where the guy's like drawing like the graph, and he's like, "See, the more you fuck around,
exactly.
the more
The
you're
more
gonna
you
find out."
Yeah.
Yep.
That'd be great. But that's the mashup now. She's just got to be adopted by the Lin Kuei, so
Well, think-
Sub-Zero can train her up.
Yeah.
If she existed in the Marvel universe, though,
Okay.
she'd be an Omega level mutant,
Oh yeah, hands down.
like
Easy.
like at the tippy tip top.
Yeah, it's like you got upset and literally froze the nation.
Yeah, like, and that was by accident.
And Genie.
Yeah.
Genie from Aladdin.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Well,
Also be an Omega.
He time travels and everything.
He time travels. He like infinite
Yeah.
cosmic power.
dude, I loved that movie so much when I was a kid.
It was so good. The second one
So
sucked
good.
and the third one redeemed it.
In the no, I loved
I
all of them.
I
though.
didn't love. Oh, are you
I
kidding me?
didn't love the
hated
second
the
one.
Prince
one.
of Thieves
Really?
one.
I hated all the sequels for him.
Really?
Yeah.
No, come on.
I was.
I think it was because I was
was
bitter about
mostly
number 2.
excited that
He never forgave them for number
my
two.
dad didn't even
forgave.
let me watch the second one until I was like 14.
Oh, that's
Why?
also why you hated it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and they had a different voice actor for Genie, and
Well,
it was just wrong. Like
it was
everything about that movie was wrong.
Not great. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I was a little more open about those movies and shit when I was a kid. I just like liked cartoons.
Yeah.
I had an older sister who really liked like the sequels and stuff. So
Yeah.
like just on like
I liked-
my own character, I couldn't like them because she did. So.
I thought it was dope. I thought it was
That makes
dope
sense.
that Jafar was that super big ass
Oh,
red
yeah.
genie. I thought he looked cool as fuck.
Jafar was
sure.
he was like a really sweet looking bad guy, but man, that second movie sucked so much.
Yep.
Probably.
And the quality of the art just went down real
It's
hard.
the same
and-
thing as when you're a kid and you're eating Mexican food at.
Dude, it's the
Bonita.
it's the
And you're
Casa
like-
Bonita
and you're like,
complex.
you're
Here we
like,
are.
oh, this is Mexican food.
That-
know?
I am now going to use this in my everyday life.
Oh,
the
yeah,
Casa
for
Bonita
real.
complex.
Yeah.
We could also be like the Kraft macaroni and cheese complex.
Oh yeah,
Or
I don't know.
McDonald's.
I still mac on all of those. I'm
But
not like
it's- well, we've-
unashamedly.
We've become addicted or attached nostalgically to that taste.
Yeah.
So
Right.
that's yeah.
You know, it's like
The salt
White
and-
Castle hamburgers I love.
Don't
but
bring
they
it up. I've
kill
never
me.
had them fresh.
See, and my wife,
Never fresh.
Never.
my wife gave us
That's part of it.
was like giving my kids, crunch berries the other day.
Kept them.
And I was like, no, I don't want any. They fuck the roof of your mouth up. And she was like, no, they don't. I was like, yes, they do. And apparently they fixed that and it doesn't do it
If you
anymore.
eat
I was
'em
like,
dry, they
you
do.
are not.
You just
Or-
gotta
or
let
enough
them
of
soak
them.
in the milk.
Yeah,
Yeah.
If you
we're munching
power
on them
through
like,
a whole box at a sitting
Yeah.
like I can.
No, yeah. When I
like
was
the
a kid,
peanut
they-
butter
they
crunch
just
were my
destroyed
oh
was
my
fix.
god.
The peanut butter crunch.
Oh fuck.
You know what
yeah.
really
No.
destroyed the roof of your mouth though? Sour Skittles. And you
Oh,
guys
yeah.
eat sour Skittles.
Well, yeah, you eat a fucking pound of them.
You don't even need to eat a pound. By the end of that first bag, your mouth is just bleeding
Bro.
profusely.
Back in the day when they first came out with Warheads, you remember?
Oh, yeah.
They were so fucking sour back then.
Do you think they were worse than they are now?
Oh yeah, because
For
they
sure.
I haven't
because
eaten a Warhead in years.
the ones now they're sour for about 20
You
like
could probably grit through that. Yeah.
like 15 seconds, but they stayed sour like the whole time back then, and that was the thing is you would try to see how many you could like eat at the same time, and like just the same thing with the flaming hot Cheetos.
That's hilarious. Yeah.
When they first came out, they were so fucking hot. Like you would sit there and like we would try to see how many we could eat before we took a drink, like
That's-
wings.
Yep.
We had similar things with my D&D party because we were making stats for each other and ourselves.
Yeah.
And so we would do like sour candies, and I think we actually relented to one of my friends, his parents owned a restaurant, and they had a bunch of like just packets of lemon juice, and that was our constitution. That's how we tested our constitution as a group, was who could drink the most of these lemon juice packets in one go.
Oh my
That's
god,
It was
fantastic.
hilarious.
that reminds me of like boxing, and I always drank lime,
yeah.
like a shot of lime juice,
Mm-hmm.
like every fucking day forever. But
Yeah.
it gets rid of like cramps and shit. If you really
It's
want,
awesome for you.
if you really want potassium, like fuck bananas.
Don't do that.
don't-
I don't advise that.
Don't literally like fuck bananas. I mean, you can if you want, whatever you.
They're just too conveniently shaped. You
They're
have
mushy.
to specify. They
They're
are mushy.
They're mushy. Well, they get mushy. You know what I
So
mean?
is that going to be something that you think could be involved in the game? Like,
Fucking bananas?
no.
I hope
I'm
so.
sorry. I
think-
backtracked in my
I feel
brain.
like that should be a spell, and then you're like, oh, this like so you cast the fuck banana spell,
the man who was laying with a banana.
and it's not really an attack. You don't take damage, but you're preoccupied with fucking a banana.
You have to deal with the
It
card.
takes you out
You
of the.
just draw the next two turns and forget to do everything else.
well,
What
it
if you
takes
had like player stats along with your card? So
It
you
locks-
are the player, right?
It locks the card for a few turns, is what it does. So you're fucking a banana right now. You can't go.
You lose
for
3
5
turns.
turns.
Skip a turn.
Skip
Maybe that'll be the card you win after the
Actually-
first tournament. Whoever.
It should just be
Golden
called.
banana trophy.
Yeah.
It should just be called
fuck.
"Satiate the Banana," and then it has like a banana with like seductive art, with like seductive eyes on it. Like that'd be the art. But
Yeah,
that'd be
like
cool
the
if you,
anime
played-
chick face.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
like the
And it's
Higo,
gonna
like
have like the big tits. So it's like an anime chick banana.
but mixed with like the reject cartoons where they're like my spoon's too big, like mixed with like that animation style.
Oh my god.
But that'd be cool if you could play like instead of you just being the wizard warlock, or
Yeah.
you could make stats
Yeah.
Like you would a D&D character and be like, okay, so my deck, or maybe base the deck off of that. Like, what kind of deck are you playing? Because in Magic, they all have different names versus as opposed to what color they are or what they do. Like, oh, this is my control deck, which most people are say, okay, that's blue.
Yeah.
Like that's what you're rolling with. But we could do that. Like, what are you? I'm like, oh, I'm super charismatic. Like, oh, okay, this guy has like a lot of buffs.
Yeah.
Or like whatever it is, like powerhouse. That means like you got a lot of warriors in there.
Yeah.
Da 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 da. So that'd be a cool way that you could customize when we get to the point of customizing cards.
Yeah. For sure.
Oh my gosh, I would so help you make them if my handwriting and penmanship just wasn't so atrocious, or if I could draw. That would also like my stickmen are crooked. Not help.
It's okay. You can play instruments. I cannot. So you got to teach my kids that.
I appreciate. Yeah,
So I got these rocket books. So it's like a dry erase marker that you can write in this little sketchbook.
Okay.
And then you take a picture of it with the app, and it sends like a perfect copy of it to you. It works for doodles.
Oh yeah. You were showing me your rocket book. Yeah.
So like for cards, what you could do is you could make a template for it, like make like a Sharpie line for like the dimensions and sketch everything out, and then take pictures of it. It sends you a digital copy, which you could easily, I think, is large enough for probably for Photoshop.
Yeah, print out, laminate on cardstock.
At least enough to give you mocks or a good idea of what you want, from, and you could scale up or scale down pretty easily.
And instead of ordering business cards from people, but from people who sell business cards, you could just order your cards. Like, hey, I need 60 of these. Or
I'm sure that there's got to be a company that would do that.
I bet you could do that just like in town, like in.
That would probably be expensive though, because you're doing how many different images?
Commit to the bit.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it'd be a lot.
It would be a lot though.
Yeah, I think right now I have almost 130 different cards that I have
And so then you're making, let's say you may want to make enough for like 100 people to buy.
How many decks have you made? Are those
just the
only
two so
full
far.
ones?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Everything else is just concept and all
So
of my
when
notes, like Jake.
As we get near the end of this, like you said, you have the 2 decks now.
Yep.
So ideally, when you go to launch this, how many different starter decks do you want to have available for people to get?
That's a good question.
Starter decks right off the bat, I think I would like
at least 5,
4.
right?
Yeah, 4 to
5.
6.
4 to 6. Yeah, solid.
Yeah.
So like a good, and then each deck would have to be a different play style almost. So it's going to introduce your classes basically, right?
Yep.
Okay.
That's so sick. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you could also take different maps and stuff and have home fielded oh, this has advantage in this type of spot on the map. Oh, if you're trudging through water, this person actually moves faster instead of slower. Or blah 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 blah.
What's your kind of goal on that to get this thing launched and out there? As far as time frame goes.
Well, I want to get the rest of the official cards done and have some more laid out. Be able to get my first book done, and I'd love to pitch all of it at the same time and be like, this is all things that go together. And like I said, I'd love to get it to Sony because they're doing a lot more open world games and stuff too. And it would be awesome for them to develop open world game.
But you're putting a lot of pressure on yourself here, buddy.
Yeah, that's totally fine.
I mean, that's a lot of.
I only work really well under pressure, so
I mean, that's how you're starting to gray out so much already.
yeah. I mean,
or you could just be like, who was it? Steve Martin. Steve Martin's had white hair since he was 20.
Yeah,
it happens.
I started getting.
Isn't that a high testosterone thing?
It's because
I have no idea.
No, I think baldness definitely is.
Yeah, baldness is because you have too much testosterone.
And you see, I have all my hair.
You see how long and glorious my hair is? I don't have that problem.
Yeah, I feel you.
Don't ask me to pick heavy things up.
All right, so if anybody's interested in talking to you about this, where can they find you on socials and stuff?
Facebook's really the only one that I use.
So nothing yet as far as like a page for the game or anything like that?
No,
Nothing
not
for the
really.
game. Probably inside
Yep.
the anthill. Honestly.
Yeah, would be the easiest way
On
is inside
Facebook.
the anthill.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
So if somebody wanted to play the game or get to know it, that would be the way too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I'll
reach
probably
out
have
through
it for like every inside the anthill too.
Sweet.
You know what you should do is like set up something like a Patreon or something where that people can help fund this if they want to. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Not a bad idea.
No, it's not.
You got to get them hooked,
I know, right?
and then
Line and sinker.
and then yeah, reel
Right.
'em in.
Excited for the game.
And
So
then
when
you
it
launch
comes
your-
out.
Get a big fan base, and then do a Kickstarter to kick it bigger, and
Yeah,
Right.
all the same while pitching it everywhere you can.
yeah,
On top of the book. You know what I mean? So like, and I
Yeah.
think doing them around the same time is a good move. Or like the game shortly after the book, so people have time to like read the book, and then you can jump into the game
yeah,
and have context to the game too.
So one thing I've heard about as far as writing a novel, especially as a first-time publisher, is to almost use kind of blog forums to kind of beta test different chapters
Yeah.
or ideas. So even just getting a website where you can write and put out a chapter here or there
yeah,
to kind of gauge how well people like it and just how easy it is for you. And then you build that up over time, and then you
yeah.
Get a Reddit
Have a
and
novel.
then post it on r/confessions, but write each character from the for their point of view,
Yeah,
and that'll be if someone's like, oh, I'm gonna upvote these stories, that'll be your beta test right there.
yeah,
Yes. Yeah, it's not a
Because
bad
then,
idea.
then you'll find them on TikTok. People will be reading the stories for your books.
yeah, right?
Nice. Well, we appreciate you coming on, dude, talking about this
Yeah.
with us. And if you ever want to come back, talk about some other shit.
Yeah,
Yeah, Zach's a big nerd. He knows a lot about a lot.
yeah, I'll come back and talk about whatever you want to.
Yeah, man. We do episodes on we've done.
Dragon Ball Z,
All kinds of shit.
superheroes, villains.
Do you want to come on the Dragon Ball one sometime?
Dude, yeah, Zach also needs to come on a
Yes.
Dragon
Yes.
Ball one. He's a bigger fan than
Hands
I am.
down.
So we
which
do
is
one
crazy.
called Dragon These Balls.
Yeah, all over your face.
Yes. It's the greatest fucking name ever, isn't it? And yeah, we just have slowly been covering the entire Dragon Ball series. We just like kind of break it up into
Oh yeah,
so right now we're getting close to into the Tournament of Power.
yeah.
Fucking amazing. If you haven't
Yeah.
watched that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Great
Like,
arc.
oh my fucking god. Like so much good shit, and I've been so excited to get into that. We should get you on there for
Yeah,
an episode.
definitely. That was the first anime that I got my wife to watch. We rented all of it from the library.
I've been watching it since I was 10.
Yeah, I've
Years
watched that
old.
one for a super long time.
It's a staple in my
Yep.
cartoon kingdom.
I think it's quintessential anime, if we like, you know what I mean, or at least
it's one of the,
shonen.
Oh, yeah.
It's one of the greats for shonens.
Quintessential like shonen for sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
It's like all those shows that you watch that are similar. Were all came from that
Yeah.
baseline. Is
That's
why-
Dragon Ball.
get all irritated when everybody's like, "Oh, Naruto and One Piece, blah blah blah. They're way better than Dragon Ball Z." I was like, "Cool," but they wouldn't exist if it wasn't.
Yeah,
for
they
Dragon
got
Ball.
to
So
build those more complex stories based on
Yeah.
something they saw before.
Their floor was Dragon Ball ceiling, all right?
yeah,
It's like
exactly.
almost
It's like why people don't understand the Beatles.
well, it's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it's like
I mean, I'm a dead fan, so
it's like Tolkien. It's like
Nothing wrong
without
with that.
Tolkien and Lord of the Rings and shit, there
Yeah.
wouldn't be
Right.
a lot of the fantasy.
We wouldn't have
shit.
like D&D. We
Yes.
wouldn't have
Yeah.
like so many RPGs or that style of game. And
yeah,
So, like I said, we really appreciate you coming on. You can come on
yeah, of course,
any fucking time. We need to get Sean on an episode again
yeah,
here soon.
Yeah.
What are we gonna do next?
you guys
week?
need to get Sarge. You guys need to get Sarge on here. You know
we-
him
Sarge
from
would be
Comic Con.
great.
He did talk to him at one point, but what happened?
We
with that?
reached out and like
it-
ships passing in the night.
Yeah, he's
didn't
Oh.
yeah.
connect.
You gotta. I'll pester him for you.
Well, I think
Yep.
next time, whenever you guys are doing the next anthill,
February.
Yep.
We're shooting
So-
for February. Also, like if you guys needed a new setting to do. So.
Well, that's what we
Yeah.
need to get to one of those because we knew it was happening. It just kind of didn't. Bill, I think, was
I was
going out of town.
Yeah, it just
Yeah.
didn't work out. It's
I
all
mean,
good.
Yeah,
Rain
it
was,
was
out
just-
of town too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was tough. It was a tough time. I helped set it up, and I wasn't even there, so
Well,
it was rough.
life.
Life happens. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So
I guess it was important. So
It's pretty
hit the
important.
music, Bill. What?
don't have the music.
Okay, we're
Raedyn
pretending
sings.
we have music.
That was a big lead up for nothing, huh?
Follow the Comic Zone wherever you get your podcasts. Go to thecomiczone.com. We have damn near fucking 80 episodes now. Follow us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and all the fun shit. As Bill would say, keep it black.
Keep it black, motherfuckers.